Okay, today we're going to learn about graphing from Vertex Form. And our essential question is, how does graphing from Vertex Form compare to graphing from standard form? So you're going to notice that it's a little bit different. So please write down your essential question and then restart the video when you're ready. Okay, so we already learned about standard form of a quadratic, and so I just want to remind you of that. Standard form of a quadratic is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about what vertex form is. Okay, so here we have vertex form. It's f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And a cannot be 0. If a is 0, then it's not going to be quadratic. Okay? I want to remind you that our a value determines if our graph opens up or down. Determines if the graph opens up or down. Remember, if it's positive, it opens up. If it's negative, it opens down. That's really important because that helps you determine and eliminate answers by knowing that. Okay? The HK is simply the vertex of the graph, which is what makes this formula, form super easy, because we can just look at the equation and know what the vertex is. And so because that's the vertex, x equals h is simply the axis of symmetry. Okay? Now, one thing I want you to notice is that in our vertex formula, it's a minus sign. And think back to when we talked about linear transformations and how we talked about that when it's in parentheses and the formula is minus, things move the opposite. So I want to show you what I'm talking about here. If I told you that the h value was 2, when I plug that into the formula, it's going to say x minus 2. Okay? And then let's say that I told you that the h value was negative 3. When I plug negative 3 into my formula, I'm going to say x minus negative 3, which is really x plus 3. Okay? So really important here to note is that the h value is the opposite sign of how it looks in the equation. Okay, it's the opposite sign. So if I saw x plus 3 squared, I would need to say that the 3 was negative 3. Okay? Okay, so let's look at our equations. And let's just practice first identifying the vertex and the axis of symmetry. Okay? It may be helpful to go through and label things. 3 is our a value. Here is our h value. Here is our k value. Okay? And so our vertex, okay, the h value, remember it's going to be the opposite, so it's not negative 1, it's positive 1. Our k value is 6. Our axis of symmetry, remember this is an equation of a vertical line, so we're going to say x equals, what is our h value? Our h value is 1. Simple as that. Okay? Now, one thing I want to point out about this is, let's just quick sketch of the graph. If I know my vertex is 1, 6, 1, 6, here it is, and I know my a value is positive 3, that means my graph opens up, right? And so it's going to look something like that, right? Okay, let's look at number 2. Again, let's label A, H. Ooh, what would our K be? What would we put here? Okay, I hope you're thinking plus 0. Okay, it would basically be 0. So my vertex, okay, my h value, remember it's going to be the opposite, so it's negative 4, comma 0. And then my axis of symmetry would be x equals negative 4. Now, what do you notice about this point? Let's think about this graph. What do you notice about this point? Okay, I hope you're thinking, oh, that's an x-intercept, Miss Adams. That's right, it is an x-intercept. And because my a value is positive, that means my graph is going to open up. Okay. Okay, so to graph this, to actually draw a graph and to look at it, we're going to identify the axis of symmetry, we're going to identify the vertex, and then we're going to find 2 more points based on the vertex by plugging in x values. Now, what I'm going to tell you here is that we're going to use the table in our calculator. Okay, you absolutely can make your own table, but if you've got a calculator to use this, we don't have to stress out about creating this, and we really need to start using our calculator more as a tool. And when I say find 2 more points based on the vertex, we want to have points to the left of the vertex and to the right of the vertex. Okay? Okay, so let's go through and let's identify our axis of symmetry. Again, here's my H, here's my K, here's my A. So my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals negative 4. So let's draw that. I'm going to just draw a dashed line. Okay, and then my vertex would be negative 4, negative 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now, is this graph going to open up or down? Okay, I hope you said down because our a value is negative. So let me go back. So we really have got to be using this calculator, guys. You noticed that from your test. So let's go to y equals. Let's type in negative 6. Make sure you're using this for this key for the negative, the one next to the enter. So negative 6x squared. Wait, I'm sorry, that's not right. Negative 6 parentheses x plus 4, close my parentheses, squared, minus, so now this time use the minus key, minus 3. Okay, so let's see if we can see what the graph looks like. Oh, okay, so this is something that we keep getting stuck on. If your window's messed up and you want to go back to just the normal window, hit zoom and then choose standard, and that'll just get you started where it normally is, and that's a pretty good picture. That's all we need to see. And now what we really want to do is pull up the table. So hit second table. I think if you're using an iPhone, you can just press table. And so now I have lots of values that I can graph. Now a lot of these are too big. So I've got to find some that I can actually fit on my graph. Now I see my vertex, negative 4, negative 3. So I'm probably going to want to graph negative 5, negative 9. So let me do that. So let's see, negative 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the other one that I can probably fit is negative 3, negative 9. Okay, so all of those points in the table, remember, make up this graph. Okay? Okay, let's look at the next one. I'd like you to pause the video and see if you can go through those steps and graph it yourself. And then when you feel like you're stuck or you feel like you've got it, then turn the video back on and follow the steps. So I've got A, H, K. So my axis of symmetry is x equals 3. Okay, so here's my center of my parabola. Okay, and then my vertex is going to be positive 3, positive 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to my calculator. I'm going to clear the equation I already typed. This graph is going to open up. Okay. Let's see if we can see what the graph looks like. It may, yep, I can barely see some of it. And then what's really important is that I can pull up my table. So let's see if I can find some values that will actually fit. There's my vertex, 3, 6, and then it looks like I can fit 2, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 4, 9. Okay, so just a quick sketch of our graph, but what's really important is that can we pull up our table, can we visualize it on our graph?